Welcome to Dugout Chatter. We are going to see how America's pastime has shaped generations of young men and women into the determined people they are today.
So I was thinking about the inception of baseball. It started back in 1869. It's a little contested on even if Abner Doubleday really invented the game. I mean, did he Chanley and weren't you there?
No, actually, I was at Fort Sumter when they were playing the game when they started the Civil War. That's exactly when the game started.
Were you involved in the Star Spangled Banner?
No. I actually drew the diagram for the first double play. Okay, the backhand flip was my specialty.
So you invented that.
I did.
So what was when did you change the rule that if you catch a ball off a hop, that it's an out? When did you change that rule?
When we figured out how to make gloves. Okay, that was the first thing.
That still took a while.
It really did. I mean, the fact of taking skin off of a cow, no one ever liked that.
Well,
so
back then you were a man. You didn't need a glove.
Well, we did until everyone's fingers were broken and nobody could play on Saturdays. So.
It's funny that you brought up the cow. One of my favorite lines to say at practice when kids are just struggling, like, hey, use your glove, man. A cow died for that thing.
Exactly.
I remember that.
I remember what the hell's going on.
A cow died for that thing.
For you.
Another one I liked was iron out the skillet.
That was a Forsyth thing.
That was a Forsyth. Forsyth had a lot of isms.
Yes, he did. He's the Bahamian side of him came out quite often at practice.
Yes, it did.
Very few coaches that I've worked with over 50 years were like Nate.
Yeah.
Nate had an enabled. I mean, he knew everything that everybody thought. Mm-hmm. He knew it before you answered it or asked it. He knew. He was amazing. I never seen anybody like that. I played baseball my whole life. He was the most athletic.
Yeah.
Gymnastic, could make plays out of his ass. I don't know how he did it.
He could do flagpoles.
I watched him do it in the dugout where he goes sideways on the flagpole, then goes up to a pull-up, and I'm going, I can't even do a push-up. And I played Division I baseball. What are we doing here? This is the generation.
Well, there was a lot less competition back in your day.
Well, I know there was, we only had about 50 people in the United States back then. I mean, my high school tryout was like 12 kids, and 6 of them were girls.
But about Forsyth, so kind of a 2-for-1 with some of my favorite stories. I think it was my junior or senior year for both. Every once in a while, he'd grab a kid's bat and then hit in the cage. And one of them, he just fucking ran into it, like hit a missile to the back of the net. So the rest of the year, he went around and he's like, hey, nice bat. Want me to show you how to use it? And then really my favorite one. So it was just BP. He was laying on just sitting on the ground. His legs were out and a ball skipped through under the net and just drilled him right in the nuts.
I don't remember that, but it probably was great.
Yeah.
We had many of those days, but Nate was special. I've coached with a lot of special guys. I mean, very special people. And when you take that effort as a non-paid coach, that's special. Now, we all got a little supplement. We all found a way to make a little extra money coaching summer ball, whatever. But those coaches that did this, they were special guys. I mean, when I was 12 years old, I rode my bike. I grew up in Cutler Ridge, Florida. All about the Ridge boys. I was an original rat, Cutler Ridge rat. That's what they called us. And we had a little special 15-year-old team that I was on. And I went to baseball camps. I worked them. I sold hot dogs.
At UM, right?
At UM. Yeah. I cut Ron Frazier's grass. Skip Burtman was the high school coach at Miami Beach. I worked at his summer camp, and then he went on to work at Miami, and then, of course, won 5 championships at LSU. Ron Polk was the only coach that came in my living room at my house to recruit me, and he said, you can't play, but I like to have you on the team. Okay, you are the guy that you should be a coach. I need that kind of guy in the back end of the team. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be willing to do that? I said, well, if I can't find anywhere else, I'll come to Miami-Dade South. All my other guys were going to Dade South, but they were starters. I wasn't going to be a starter. How do I start in the middle infield in a Hispanic area like Miami that breed high school shortstops like Juan Bustabad and Alex Rodriguez? Those are kids that grew up in my area. We had a kid named, I won't even go back, Ross Jones, who was the best college player in 1978. He was our first baseman. I mean, we had players down in that area. I wasn't that good, so I found a school where I could play. And that was all the way up in Kentucky, all the way hidden in the hills. Nobody even knew about high school baseball up there. I came to school and coach goes, "You played football, right?" I go, "Why?" He goes, "Well, you're from Florida." I said, "Well, we play baseball there too." No one knew that. I mean, we were still trying to make it. Miami UM kind of changed the mark when Frazier finally started winning. That changed Miami. And then we had a guy named Hoffman, Rich Hoffman.
Oh, Rich, yeah.
Yeah.
He's still involved. He runs clinics, not clinics, but tournaments.
Rich went to Westminster Christian, which was the private school down the street from our high school. My high school was the largest male high school in the state of Florida in 1971. We had a graduating class of 3,000. I mean, I knew kids. I didn't even know kids in the school that graduated. I went 3 years there. We had a lot of kids. So they started Westminster Christian. Hoffman took over. Eventually, he got Alex Rodriguez to come to that school, and they won 5 or 6 national champions. That little area down there had talent that you could not believe. And that talent moved to Broward County because there was so much in the South. And that talent from Broward moved to Palm Beach because fathers only want one thing for their children: playtime.
Yep.
It's all about game time. Yeah. And if they can't find it, they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
If they can't find it, they start another travel ball team. Okay? Travel ball's great, but travel ball's also kind of not great.
It's a blessing and a curse.
It really is, because if you're not successful, you just find another team rather than go back to work on the things that you need and compete.
Not to mention how much more expensive it's gotten.
Yeah, it's very expensive for kids and families.
I can't even believe it. When I coached the Legion team for Boynton, I charged $500 to play Legion. Yeah. Okay, it cost me $1,000 for those kids. So we picked it up. I mean, it's expensive for fields, lights, umpires, travel, insurance. I remember the first time in 2006, I took a team up to the land. I rented Enterprise vans for $26 insurance. Now it was $260 the next time I wanted to do it. You can't do it.
Right.
The travel ball's really gotten expensive.
The thing that's hey, say hi.
Wow. I didn't know it came from. Well,
the thing that's crazy about what travel ball has become, and it's a necessary means for the kids. They have to play. Yep. They have to play up. They have to play against better competition. But by the time they get to high school, and there's 6U travel teams now.
Oh, I know.
So
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, your nephew's going to start playing travel coach pitch.
I saw a 7 and under national championship with wood bats.
Yeah, and there's rankings and there's all sorts of things.
Most of them don't even know how to use their body yet.
It's all for the dollar.
Yeah,
but it has to be played because of the skill level that the players are involved in.
Yeah.
When you do face a really good team, they're really just comprised of just really talented players. It's not like the coaches are like coaching an 8-year-old how to like run a wheel play or bunt defense. They're just athletic and they're talented players. So they just kind of win that way. But the thing that's crazy, when they get to high school though, they forget, like high school still in essence is about competition.
Yeah.
And the internal competition that a high school program has is what builds success. And if you don't have that internal competition, you kind of just like, it's just a whatever average type of program. The schools that don't continuously win, that aren't private schools, that aren't able to get kids that can come from anywhere. The public schools, when you have internal competition, which is lacking as kids are growing up, because like you said, they're just going on to another team, or dad starts a team or gets another coach to start a team. And there's no more competition. You know, when I was a junior in high school, I got cut from we played big league. We didn't do travel ball. Big league was big when I was growing up.
That was big in Broward County because the
Broward County hosted
championship,
the World Series.
World Series.
So
yes.
the playing big league in Broward County was really important.
Was a big deal.
I got cut from the All-Star team my junior year. I got cut, but I played going into my junior year. I got cut. Going into my senior year, I made the big league All-Star team. And I was a 350, 360 hitter that summer that I got cut on. But I didn't just go bolt the league and play somewhere else. I just worked hard and made the All-Star team the following year. Yeah. It's kind of like, that's normal life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's
instead of what kids nowadays and families nowadays, dads nowadays are doing. They're not letting their kid fail. They're just...
Nobody wants to be told that they're not quite good enough to be on this team.
Right, but sometimes that's needed in life.
It's the worst thing that you can have. And say, hey, you know, there's 15 guys on the roster, you're number 16.
Yeah.
Okay? So what you can do is I'd go back home and I'd lift some weights. I'd run a little bit faster. I'd work maybe with a private coach. And next time you try out, we're go for the best. Rather than... Dad, I didn't make the team. Okay, well, we're changed schools.
Or this is bullshit. This is someone. Then the dad gets on the phone. I need to talk to so and so about this. Is not my son got cut. What? Like, come on, man.
My son.
I cried when I got the phone call that I didn't make the team. Back then it was phone call. Hey, you're on the team. You're not on the team. I cried in my bedroom. Like, I was upset. I was hurt.
Of course.
And I thought I deserved to be on that All-Star team with an opportunity to play in that big league World Series. And you know what? After that, you know, the pain that was going through, that I was going through,
the disappointment.
I got over it. I moved on. I had a solid senior year. And I had a solid, fall, and then I ended up making the team the next year. So that's kind of like, it's an important part of life to fail. And baseball is the best sport of it because you fail so often. Yeah. And instead of what's happening with the youth, they're not being allowed to fail. Like, I watch my brother's kids game sometimes, and it's like, it's always about trying to win, but and if they don't win, they don't know how to handle it. Yeah. It's weird. It's just weird. It's just, kids need to learn how to fail. Yeah. And need how to learn how to fail.
I coached 14 years at Atlantic with Dave Smith. Dave was an icon in the county. His only thought was to win. That was it. Not any other thought was to win. That's the way I was raised. I came to work for you, and you said there was something else to coaching than just winning. And that was making sure that you did things consistently, you can make your kids do things responsible, and sometimes you don't win every game. I remember going home and working, when I had my nursery, I would go after a game in Atlantic, I would go out in the nursery. I'd kick pots around. I'd kick trays around. I'm going, how the hell did we lose to John I. Leonard? How the hell did we do that? I come to work for Nick and he goes, okay, so we're going to suit it up next Tuesday and we're playing. and I was like, yeah. That makes sense. And we're not professionals, and we're teaching kids the right way. And you know what? If you don't know how to lose, you don't know how to win.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
It's as simple as that. If you haven't tasted the awful stomach gurgling that you get with a loss, you're not going to be able to celebrate that taste of success when you win. If you just win, you never know really how sweet it is. Yeah. But if you know you got your ass kicked last year, like I did with Bustabad, he kicked my ass for 2 years. We finally beat him. You know what? That was much sweeter than beating them the first time.
And then you learned a lot from those failures.
The failures made us stronger. It got us better. It always made us work harder.
Yeah.
Okay. That's always the phrase, oh, just work harder. Kids don't know work harder. What does that mean? Be more successful? Is that the way you work harder? No. The way you work harder is show up on time, do what's responsible, do what's expected, and results will come. And if they're not successful, maybe next time they will be.
Yeah. Well,
That's the most important thing.
I really like what you just said, though.
I do too. I didn't even know what I said.
You said you have to, if you don't know how to lose, you definitely don't know how to win. Like, that's so true. And, you know, being at Santa Lucia's for as long as we were, we lost a lot of games. We also won a lot of games. But,
we did.
You know, one of the greatest things that, you know, that we did together was everyone respected us. Everyone respected our teams. Everyone knew that we were classy. Everyone knew that we would fight hard. Everyone knew that we would, you know, we had some talented teams. We had some not so talented teams, but every time that we stepped on the field, we gave it our all. And everyone thought that.
Look at the best game that you talk about on your podcast when Jacob beat Boca.
We beat Boca.
I mean, come on.
In 21 years of coaching, that's one of my favorite.
We weren't
in the top three.
We weren't supposed to win that game.
Experience.
We were like 7-18 going into that.
Yeah, and we had a very rocky season. And you know what? I mean, besides the little psychological shift I played on you guys.
Well, the hiccup that we had.
The hiccup that I had as a coach, like I messed up, but like we made the correction and then you guys responded in a positive way.
Yeah, we all started backing it up with good play.
And we still went about our business every day, no matter what. We still practiced hard. We still worked hard. We still, you know, I didn't cancel practices because we were losing. Like sometimes you hear about like sometimes these other schools that are like, they don't even practice on Saturday sometimes. Like, it's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. So nothing changes just because you lose. And I was telling Coach Chanley on the way up here, because we drove together, I'm like, something that we owe to the kids is every single team should be coached the same way. Mm-hmm. Like that should never change. Like, so you're going to have teams that win some games. You're going to have teams that lose some games. You're going to have teams that win a whole lot of games. You're going to have teams that lose a whole lot of games. But nothing should change from our approach as coaches on how we handle the kids, because it's high school baseball. It's so much more important that you learn how to go through what we're going through together and try to manage like how to go about your high school career and playing a sport, because it prepares you for everything else. Yeah. It doesn't matter about what you do in baseball on the field after high school baseball.
No.
I mean, it doesn't matter at all. Like,
I think one of the greatest things is your relationship with teammates that you still have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm listening to the podcast and you go Luke Stemley and I'm like, holy shit, who remembers Luke Stemley?
I do. He was fast as shit.
He was very fast.
He came to St. Lucia's because of me. I coached his older brother. And he came. Michael played on my state team in 2010. He was our shortstop. He's one of the best players I ever had. So Luke came over with me to St. Lucia's, and I love that kid. But you brought his name up, and it made me smile.
Oh yeah, no, I still keep in touch with them.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
That's amazing. I'm 50 years out of high school. I have not talked to one of my high school guys. Not one of them. Okay.
They're probably all dead.
Well, I was just telling Coach on the way over, he goes, you don't wear a seatbelt? And I go, no, my best friend in high school died because he couldn't get out of the seatbelt. So I haven't worn one. But that's I don't recommend that for the children listening to this podcast.
Well, my fucking my truck's buzzing because you don't have your seatbelt on. I'm like, you don't put your seatbelt on?
That's the worst.
And
then you told me someone who doesn't put it on.
And then you told me the story, and then I'm like, all right, now I feel like an asshole.
Turn the damn volume up.
But it's funny, when you said you coached for Dave Smith, when I was a young assistant for Santa Lucia's and we played Atlantic, you guys were really good. We were really good. You guys were in the Santa Lucia Slam. And like Larry Greenstein and all the other coaches, as I'm a first-year coach, they're all talking to you like you're the head coach. And then like after I got the job at Santa Lucia's, I still thought I never knew that. I always thought that you were Dave Smith. Like I knew Dave Smith was the head coach, and I thought you were Dave Smith. And then our mutual friend, Michael Tiemann, introduced us or brought the opportunity for you to come over to Santa Lucia's when you stopped coaching at Atlantic.
Yeah, when Smitty resigned and retired, I came over to work for you. Yeah, right. 2006.
Yeah,
and
you were with me for 14 years, and it was a blast. But like, I always thought that you were running the show over at Atlantic, so I just was like shocked that you weren't Dave Smith.
Well, Smitty, I love you. I did run that program.
Yeah, I think everyone knew that. Dave was the bad cop. You were the good cop, but you ran a lot of that success.
I ran the base. We used to call it Gary ball. We used to bunt. We used to steal.
You love that shit.
Oh man, hey, listen.
When you won the state title in Legion, you were bunting.
First and second
automatic bunt.
That's Japanese baseball.
First and second, 2-1 count, automatic
hit and run.
Automatic hit and run. Yeah. Worked every time. Every time, no signal. You just go, hey, 2-1. Here we go, guys.
It's probably easier than giving signals because the kids always fuck up the signs anyways.
They really do.
It's amazing, right?
Shit.
My signs haven't changed in 21 years. I brought the signs over to Garcia.
It's
I'm doing signs in fall ball. I'm like, we're fucking missing signs all over the place. I'm like, guys, it's the same shit. I have Santa Lucia's kids that are with me now that are fucking missing signs. Come on, guys.
I remember one game I was coaching last year. Like, this one kid was up and he was having a rough season. So like, there's a guy on like first or second and like no outs or one. So I put on the bunt sign. He misses both of them, strikes out on the curveball in the dirt on the next pitch. I think, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Of course.
At least he knew the sign though.
No, he knew the sign after I walked up to him and told him he missed it 3 times.
Oh, he missed the sign.
Yeah, he missed
the bunt.
He missed the signs each time and ended up striking out on the curveball in the dirt.
Ah, nice. There you go. Never mind.
I got 2 of my old high school baseball coaches, Nick Franco and Gary Chanley. So how long did you guys coach together and how did you meet?
We met coaching when I was a young assistant coach, coaching at St. Lucia's. He was an assistant coach at Atlantic, but he was running the show like we just mentioned. And when Smitty retired, and so he was kind of like a free agent. And one of my college teammates played for him at Atlantic. His name is Mike Tiemann. And I was talking to Mike Tiemann when I'm like, hey, I need some more coaches. He's like, talk to Gary. Talk to Gary. Gary will definitely come over to you. So, I didn't even know you besides as an assistant coach kind of like colleague, but we never like hung out, never talked about, as soon as we talked about you coming over, the rest is history. You were with me for 14 years. You helped me as a young coach.
One of my best friends of all time. I mean, this is a great guy. I said it the night I retired at the banquet. There's nobody that understands the ability to coach young guys and get his message across better than Coach Franco. Nobody. That includes everyone I know.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And that's a hell of a compliment.
Yeah.
And I mean it.
I'm flattered.
From my heart. I mean, that's I learned more about life from you than I did from anyone else. And it was all about losing is not acceptable, but sometimes it's the result of your effort not being successful. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes you just lose. Sometimes the other team's just better. Sometimes shit happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they just catch a break.
Yeah. How many times has a ball bounced over a shortstop's glove with the guy on third base with 2 outs?
Yeah.
Come on. Any other time that ball goes right into his glove and over to first base and you win. We've seen it. We've seen guys score from second base on a wild pitch.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
remember the Seminole Ridge game where we called 6 breaking balls in a row?
You're gonna bring that up now?
Well, it's funny because the particular player that threw the 6 breaking balls in a row was really upset about it. And it's like, you know what? If it wasn't a fucking hanger, it wouldn't have been hit out of the park. If you buried it, he probably would have swung and missed because there's no way in the world that he was thinking another breaking ball was coming. But he kept on battling, ended up hitting a fucking walk-off. And I think his glove went over the fence further than the ball went over the fence after he threw it.
You know what I said to him? I said, that's the best throw you made all night.
You know, it's funny. I still have a good relationship with him. I'm not going to mention his name today.
I love the kid.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful family. He's awesome.
I love the kid.
It's just funny how like little things like that, like, you know what? Was it a risky 6th pitch in a row call? Yeah, sure.
I lost my pitch calling job. You took it away right after that. You were like, I'll call pitchers from now on. I'm like, what? 6.
Yeah, I did take over the pitch calling.
Yeah. I mean, you screwed this senior team. You screwed me too. I mean,
not my senior team. We went way further than we should have.
We did.
But it just... when you decided to hang it up, that was a really cool year.
Special.
I
couldn't have made a better decision to leave at that year if I had planned this out 20 years earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we were 23-4. We won a district championship.
Yeah. He said it going into the season. 2018 is my last year.
Yeah.
And we ended up having a really talented team with 13 players. We only had 13 players on varsity. I think we only had 26 total in the whole program that year. We were very thin, but we were very talented. And we knocked off Vista in the championship game, which was fucking phenomenal. And that's still one of the greatest. I played for Craig Giroux, and one of the funniest things that he always said, like, nothing's better than dogpiling. Like, yeah, you can have fun, but nothing's funner than dogpiling. And that night and that district championship game, we dogpiled, and it was so surreal because we were always like the redheaded stepchild in Park Vista. Park Vista opened up. We won the first year they were opened up because they had no senior class, and then from there on out, except for Alex Koji's year where he dominated them, and we won like a 3-1 game or 2-1 game, something like that.
I love Algie.
Yeah, that was one of his best moments in high school, and he still probably remembers it to this day, obviously. And he went on to play at FAU or Palm Beach State and FAU. He had a great career in college, but him knocking up because all of his buddies were Park Vista kids. He was like our kid that probably should have went to Park Vista.
Well, he came to us so he could play because I think he would have been buried on Park Vista.
But it's funny because they've out of all these years, we've only beaten them twice.
Yeah.
And then we beat them, we only beat them once leading into the 2018 year. And then we split with them in the regular season. Didn't we split with them?
Yes.
One of our 4 losses was against them. And then in the district final, we ended up beating them.
Remember my senior year, we almost beat them.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the 3. You talked about that game on the podcast. You got the go-ahead hit.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I thought I fucking grounded out.
It gets through the hole.
Yeah, because Forsyth was shaking me. He's like, looking left field. I'm like, why? It got through.
But just all these years together, and we've become very close friends. Our wives are friends through baseball.
Our dogs are friends.
Yeah. We're Dolphin fans too. He's rocking the Dolphin stuff because they're in first place right now. But
that's not true. See,
no.
I'm gonna take offense with that. I was at
kidding.
I was at the first Dolphin game.
Ever?
Ever?
Does anyone remember when the first Dolphin game was played?
Well,
if anyone does, it's you.
It was 1969.
66.
66. I didn't.
But it was a Friday night. No one remembers that in the Orange Bowl.
Really?
Yep. And I was
NFL
there.
played on a Friday night.
Yep.
That wasn't Black Friday like the Dolphins are playing on next.
The game wasn't shown locally because it was blacked out because of their blackout rule. There was like 23,000 people there. I was 13 years old. I told my mom and dad, I said, I'm going to the game. And they said, well, how are you going to get there? Because the Orange Bowl was like 20 miles north of where we were from. I said, well, they're offering a bus ride, 25 cents, and a Velda Farm Huddle Club box top. And you could go to the game for 25 cents and ride the bus and $1 for the ticket when you got there. So Velda Farm was the dairy that made the milk that everyone bought in Miami. So I had a Velda Farm.
This is the most old man story.
Huddle Club box top, and I get on the bus and I put my quarter in the little machine that goes down, and we would ride up to the Orange Bowl. I was 13. You got to remember, you think today parents would let a 13-year-old ride 30 miles to the Orange Bowl by themselves?
No, you shouldn't even have been allowed on that bus.
No. And so we go, there's 2 of us, and we go to the game. We sit in the end zone in the Velda Farm Huddle Club section, right behind the net, which is now a net. Back then, there was not a net.
Most people are going to have to do some extreme Googling.
Well, I can tell you, my facts are straight.
To put the mental image in their mind.
Joe Auer took the opening kickoff back 96 yards for a touchdown on the Dolphins' first play in their life.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No idea.
Well, podcast golden, baby.
Yeah,
I'm a Dolphin
fans.
fan.
Yeah.
So, Chanley, tell me a little bit about your playing days.
I sucked.
You played Division I ball.
I was let me tell you, on every team I played, and you're gonna know what I'm saying. I was always the last guy on the roster. The 12-year-old All-Star team that we won the state championship out of Homestead. I was the backup catcher. I was the last guy on the roster. We went over to Lakeland or Clearwater, and the catcher that was starting in front of me, he got pushed down in the room because we were all horse playing. I actually pushed him. And he cut his head on the side of the dresser, and he had stitches. He couldn't put the mask on, so guess who got to catch?
Yeah,
so that's
a very
how
good shove. Very heady shove.
Damn right. I absolutely.
Hey, you got to get playing time somehow.
I'm working hard. But I was the last guy on the roster. So I go to college, or let's just say I go to high school. I was the shortstop on the 15-year-old state championship team. So we all go to high school together. There's 5 of us, 6 of us, I guess, and we all go there. And we have no coach, and they hire a guy from Boston. He comes down, and he's a first-year coach, and he goes, all the seniors are gone. He cut every senior that was on the team.
That wouldn't be allowed these days.
No.
And it was the quarterback on the team. It was the running back. I mean, these were great athletes back then that played more than one sport. He kicked them all. He cut them all. And he said, I'm going with the young guys. So I'm thrown in as a 10th grader playing shortstop, which I had no reason to be out there. I was not able to play against Manny Crespo and those kind of guys that lived in my neighborhood. Stokely, whatever his name was, he played at Harvard. But the team was, we never did anything without a coach. And this guy, he was a football coach. And he kept all the freshmen, and after 1 year, he left. He went to Columbus, and he went to be the head coach, and they won state championships in football. We got a coach in from the University of Florida. He was a track guy. And he came in, and the program went to poop. I was the one that was picked to go, hey, can you bring the equipment every day? I said, yeah, I have a 68 Camaro. I'll throw the stuff in the back of the Camaro. Because we couldn't ever count on coach to show up for practice. We're out there at the park. Where's coach? I don't know. So I'm making the lineups. I was in high school.
It sounds like a bad dream.
I go to home plate. We're playing Miami Beach. Coach Burtman comes out to home plate. And I walk out with the lineup, and he goes, what are you doing here? I said, Coach ain't here. And I'm scratched the lineup on a piece of notebook paper. And I go, we don't have any catcher's gear. And he goes, well, I'll give you some catcher's gear. So, because I had worked for Burtman in the summer, and he was like, what are you doing here at home plate with a lineup? So that's how I got involved in coaching. So when I went to college, I asked my high school coach, I said, hey, coach, could you write me a letter of kind of recommendation?
What year was it? That was your sophomore year?
That was 1970. Yeah, it was my sophomore year, junior
and then
year.
you got a coach like that would showed up for your senior year?
My senior year, we had the athletic director who had won a state championship by coaching Bucky Dent at Hialeah High School. So he came in, Martin Frady was his name, and we had a pretty good year. But my biggest problem was I had a kid that transferred in from Jensen Beach. Where in the hell is Jensen Beach? In 1970, in Miami, we went, Jensen Beach? What is that? Do they play baseball there?
Yeah.
Well, this kid
felt like another state.
This kid came in and kicked my ass, and he stole my position the first day of practice. And I went to third base, and I was not very good at third base. So at the end of my playing career at high school at Miami Palmetto, that we never won more than 15 games in a year. We never made the playoffs. We were very not important.
You were always important.
Yeah,
but very average.
We weren't very important. No one took Palmetto at all. We were the school that won the high school golf, the high school tennis, volleyball, cross country, kind of like Spanish River. Okay. We didn't win in basketball. We didn't win in baseball. We didn't win in football. We were just that school. I said, well, I'm going to walk on. And I picked Eastern Kentucky because they had a little bit of information that said, hey, why don't you try this? We're looking for shortstops. Right? Does that sound like it's a little enticing?
Yeah, for sure.
We're looking for shortstops. So off we go. My dad and mom go, okay, you got a semester. That's all the money we got. Your out-of-state tuition was about $700 to go to school for tuition, food.
You went to school when it was only $700.
It was about $700. Okay,
yeah, houses were probably like 30 grand back then.
My dad's house was $13,000.
Oh my God!
He was making $8,400 a year when I went to college.
Wow.
Okay, so let's put that in perspective. So we go up. I go up to Eastern, and Mom goes, you got a semester. You better, work your ass off. You come home and you coach with Miami-Dade. You can work with Ron Polk. And I'm like, okay. Well, I made the team. I go out for practice the first day. And they said, well, go to your position that you feel most comfortable. The same as we always did with the kids. So everybody runs to shortstop. I'm like, wait a second. I was told they were looking for shortstops. There's 13 kids in front of me. Yeah. So I'm in the back and I'm like, hey, how you doing? He goes, yeah, I'm fine. I go, where are you from? I'm from Owensboro. We won the state championship last year. I'm on full scholarship. I'm like, what's your position? Shortstop? I go to the next kid. He goes, where are you from? Somerset. We won the state championship last year. I'm a shortstop. I'm like, what the hell? So I'm looking at second base and there's 4 guys. I went, well, I just switched positions. And I went over and I got behind the second base.
There was a lot better from there.
And
law of averages.
Yeah.
So
a lot better odds.
I was lucky because we had a graduate assistant named Frosty Brown who I ran into 20 years later. It's another story for a podcast. But he was our grad assistant and he saw me move to second base. So after the practice, he says, hey, Chanley, come over here. And I went over and he goes, I saw what you did. That's a smooth move, man. I said, well, I'm just trying to make the team. I said, I'm a middle infielder. Don't matter where I play. I play second, third, short. I catch. He said, you catch? I said, oh, yeah, I caught my junior year in high school. Huh. So we leave. Next day we come out, more tryouts. Hey, we're going into an inter-squad game. I'm like, okay. He sets a defense up. He goes, Chanley, go to second base. I'm like, whoa, what? Somebody else's name is Chanley? It's got to be. And I'm looking like this. He goes, yeah, go out to second base. Well, the first day I got 3 hits. I was going to be a switch hitter. Okay, I'm like, I don't care what they tell me in college, I'm going to switch hit. If I tell them I did it in high school, they're not going to know I didn't do it because nobody's got any film. Nobody ever recruited me. So I go up, I get a hit lefty. Next time I go up, I get a hit righty. Next time I go up, I hit a double. I'm staying on second base. I never hit an extra base hit in my whole high school career. Okay? And I hit a double, goes all the way to the fence. And I'm like, these balls must be juiced or something. What's going on here? So after the practice, he goes, I'm going to give you a shot at shortstop tomorrow. I'm like, why? He goes, well, you got 3 hits today. I'm like, I ain't guaranteed 3 hits the rest of the year, coach. I mean, that's a season for me. So the next day I go out, we get 3 hits. My roommate, my freshman year, was a pitcher from Ohio, Dale Magato. Dale, if you're alive, I still love you, buddy. And he pitched against me. And he was like, I'm getting you out. And I got 2 hits against him that day. And I made the team. And the next day they called me and they said, hey, scholarship just opened up. Here you go, bud. And that's how I got.
That was probably a great phone call home. Hey, I ain't coming home.
Are you
I
kidding
got money.
me?
I got a scholarship.
Yeah.
I made the team and I got a scholarship. I ain't coming home.
I had to
I ain't fucking leaving. Just like in that movie, Wolf of Wall Street.
I had to send Dad my scholarship paper that he had to sign, and it was certified and everything. It was you thought I was the first pick in the NFL draft. I mean, it was a great day.
That's awesome.
I mean, to get a scholarship and go to school and get a degree in horticulture that I've used for my 50 years of my career.
You're still involved with that stuff.
I'm still working every day. 70 years old, and I'm still working every day.
Yeah.
So, what were some of the highlights of your guys' coaching career?
Coming to work for Nick, winning a district championship. Me personally, winning the state American Legion in 2010. We had that was special. I mean, if you can get to the point where you win a state championship, I don't care if it was against 3 teams and they were both blind. I'll take the win. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I think just the lifelong friendship that we had because we coached together. And, I've said this in the earlier part. I lost my father at a young age. I kind of look up to Coach Chanley as like a father figure. And nothing was greater than him having the type of job that allowed him. He's not a teacher. He's not in education. So he's in horticulture and he's in like landscaping and stuff. And he has a job that allowed him to come coach with me for 14 years. And every day that he came out to the field, he was nothing but his sole focus was on the kids. And that's kind of like what I do. Like we were like the yin to each other's yang. Like we do this for the kids, man, because in the grand scheme of things, we care so much more about the personal relationships that are built over the winning. Like, and we feel like accountability is important, and we also we piggyback off each other. When you played for us, like everyone knows Coach Chanley, the Chanley change that he used to teach in the bullpen, the Chanleyisms, all his like mispronouncing names and everything.
The BP was
one of the
always
legendary
great.
BP throwers in Palm Beach County.
Yeah,
Probably the best.
Yeah, probably.
Did you really retire the robot after our senior year?
Okay, my arm is garbage right now. It's because of the last BP I threw to you. I think that was it.
Yeah, no.
I remember you start throwing fucking curveballs and shit when we did hit to stay and we'd stay. I remember like I actually got a hit on a curveball or something and you got mad at me and just threw one at me.
No, then the next one I buried in your hip.
Yeah, we got a few of those. Get off my plate.
But like, when you have someone so like he knew what I was going to do before I did it. I knew what he was going to say before he said it. Like we piggybacked off each other so tremendously well, and it was such a good 14-year run of just
pure fun.
It was pure fun. It was pure, we did it all for the right reasons too. Like we really cared about coaching the kids and making sure that they take something from being a part of St. Lucia's baseball.
Well,
we've had college players, big league players that it doesn't matter. Like, everyone has their own little success story in life after being a high school player under our watch.
Well, what did we say on the way up here? I rode up with you when we were talking about McKay.
Yeah, we were talking all 4 Giffins that we coached.
Jacob and Zach.
We were talking about how Zach Halpern's a UF cheerleader now. Like, how cool is that?
He couldn't catch a curveball. Now he's catching girls.
He's catching girls being tossed up in the air.
Sorry, Zach.
Yeah, if you're listening, Zach, when you listen, nothing but love, because now you got a dream. We would love to be a UF cheerleader.
Oh, Zach, that's a clip, and I'm fucking tagging you in it.
And Jacob Williams.
Jacob Williams, it's a Florida guy
he
going
was Mr.
UF.
Florida at the football
I didn't think
games.
you could spell UF.
But it just everything about it, just all the memories of all the fun times. One of our favorite moments ever together was we were talking about a player and something, and Coach Chanley goes, well, the spots on a zebra never change. I'm thinking about that for a second. I go, Coach, zebras have stripes, not spots. He goes, no. The spots on a zebra never change, Coach. And the funniest thing is ever, like 2 weeks ago, he found a zebra that has spots and he put it on his phone. Show GIF. He has a zebra that has spots on his phone. But it's like he kind of like that was a Chanleyism.
It was only one of 3 zebras ever born with spots.
Why is that your screensaver?
Yes, he said it because that's something that
I put it on as my screensaver, and I actually did it myself. I figured out how to do that and change the screensaver.
You went a long way from dialing phone numbers.
The most amazing thing is though,
my first phone was a telegraph machine.
But to this day, I always say the spots on a zebra never change. Whenever we're talking about something in that contest, and sometimes people pick up on it, other times they don't. And I just always get an internal like chuckle, like that's a Chanleyism.
Yeah. That's a Chanleyism. Yeah. It's like Babe Ruth said, 90% of the game is
Babe Ruth. That was Yogi Berra.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Was it Babe Ruth? What did I say?
You said Babe Ruth. It was Yogi Berra. I said
Babe Ruth.
Didn't you play with Yogi Berra?
No, Babe Ruth said, "Give me another hot dog."
Yeah.
But just the still close friendship, even after he retired. And I don't see him as much as we used to. But
well, you're busy. You're still coaching. Coaching's full-time job.
No, it is.
Not only when you're at the field, but you're constantly thinking about how you can do things better.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're thinking as much as the players.
Yeah. Way more than the players. Believe me, with a 15-year-old kid, as soon as he leaves baseball practice, that's the last thing on his mind. You know what he's doing? Not thinking about baseball.
Well, it's funny. We would leave practice first. I'm on my way home. I call Coach Chanley up. Hey, what'd you think about that? What we did at practice? What'd you think of this drill? What do you think of this idea? I just popped up into my head. What do you think about trying so-and-so at a different position? What do you think about trying this person and as a pitcher? Like we talked about it constantly. Yeah. And that's all we do. And then our wives get mad at us because we like, you just left practice. Like, why are you still
speaking of wives, I need to segue into this. The most important thing for a coach at any level is their partner.
Yeah, for sure.
To be 100% on your feelings of what you're doing. Okay? I met my wife on a blind date. The second date we had was, I said, listen, I got to coach a Legion game. You want to come? It's 2:00 on Saturday. You can sit with my parents. Could you imagine today saying, would you like to come sit with my parents?
On a second date?
It's like Travis Kelce going, hey, Mom, come sit with Taylor Swift. I mean, you know. So Donna's 19 years old. I'm 23, and I'm coaching baseball.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, she went, oh, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a keeper.
Yeah. My girlfriend went to the games I coached in my men's league games.
Yeah, and 6 weeks later, we were, should I say this on public radio? We were living together, and she was my scorekeeper for my Legion team. And we used to sit on the floor at night after the game, and we would go over the book. And she learned to be a baseball wife. And for 47 years, we've been married, and she's taken all of my
shit for 44 of those years, 43 of those years. She was
my highs and my lows, my wins, my losses, my disappointments, my success, the actual planning. How many days? I won't say we stayed at Duffy's, but it's 2 for 1 all the time.
That was like every post-practice and game.
We would go there quite often during the
We had coaches meetings. I mean, things have
to be. They're coaches meetings. Some of the best decisions are made over beer.
Absolutely.
Right.
The greatest decisions are made over beer and someone you love. And when you have a wife and you have a coach and you have a coaching staff, I tell you what, our program turned a little bit around when John Arico came to work for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a good man. Good coach. He's still with me.
We have to give John a little bit of credit. George Smith. I mean, God, dog it.
He's still with me.
You can't kill that guy. I mean, he's still with you.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what that means to me?
What?
that means that someone at the top is doing a pretty good job that everyone sticks around.
Yeah.
No, it just means that I've tricked a lot of people.
No, it doesn't. Stop.
Hey, whichever works.
Yeah. Stop.
A little bit of both.
The used car salesman wears out eventually.
Well, that's one thing I'm not. I'm a terrible salesperson. I would never make it as a salesperson.
Well, the thing is,
the irony is my father was a tremendous salesperson.
The thing is, you have no ability not to tell exactly what it is. And you can't even, in my opinion, I embellish a lot of things. I was a lot better than I was. No, I wasn't. So that's the most important thing. And from coaching, the relationships that you have with your other coaches, but your kids too.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, it was a great moment, that last game that you coached at Santa Lucia's, and all the, as many former people, the former players that played Legion ball for you, didn't even, some of the Park Vista kids had never played it, they played for Park Vista, but they played Legion for you. They all came out that night and they all were there to celebrate you. It was really cool. And it was a really cool honor. And then the Palm Beach posted that amazing article about you. How many assistant coaches in Palm Beach County get an article written about?
Never.
I think he's the first fucking one, and he'll probably be the only one ever.
Yeah.
He spent, 27 years coaching in Palm Beach County, always as the number 2. And, never gets the credit.
I never wanted to be one because that's somebody else's job. I'm the assistant. I wanted to be the good guy, not the hard guy.
Yeah.
And when I coached my Legion team, I took that to be the good guy. And that's why my kids, who were a bunch of renegades, they were second team Park Vista kids and second team St. Lucia's kids. I didn't get the good ones. Trey Turner didn't play for me. I mean, there were good players that didn't play for me. And I took those guys that were hungry and we had fun.
Yeah.
And that was the best coaching that I've done, is that Legion team when I was number 1. But being number 2 is fine. It's a great thing. And you have to learn to be a number 2. You know what you do? You shut up. You listen. And then you figure out where you can intervene and say, hey, why don't we try this?
I think one of your best attribute was, if I ever got
my handsomeness.
You are a handsome, striking young fella.
My ability to hold a liquor.
You can hold. Okay. You can drink beer. That's for sure. I became a better beer drinker under.
Yes, you have.
Thank you.
I mean,
but
coaching.
But the thing is, honestly, when I had an upset moment, and I had a moment where I showed my ass a little bit, you always were able to kind of twist it around to the kids, not even with me around, to say, I think Coach really meant this. And you would articulate.
He didn't mean that you really suck. He meant that you need to work harder.
You articulated it in a more positive way when I lost my cool and I showed my ass, which I think
that's what the assistant does. Yes,
like that.
Yeah,
and
that's a bench coach.
Yeah, yep. I mean, the head guy there's a lot of stuff that we have to go through and process and do on a day-to-day basis.
And a lot of things
we lose our cool.
I didn't want to do.
Right.
I mean,
so the number 2 shows up and gets to coach and not worry about all the other things about coaching.
I had an opportunity to go to Atlantic and be their head coach when they hired Dax.
He's with me now at Garcia.
Is he really?
Yeah.
And I turned it down. Because I was like, no, I don't think I want to be the head guy when I'm not on campus, because that coach needs to be visible. Yeah. He needs to be able to tell his kids, go to class. Stop.
It's so important to have a head coach in any sport be on campus.
Yeah.
And the landscape of high school sports is not a realistic thing, but I was an athletic director for a couple of years at San Lucia's.
Very successful one.
Yeah, we did okay, but I purely love coaching, and I wanted to just get back to coaching and not worry about the side.
Well, you did the AD thing because I told you to.
Yeah, but I also knew that once you can only do one really the right way, so I went back to just coaching.
Yes, better for you
because it took away from coaching. Being an AD took away from coaching. Being a coach took away from being an AD. So and especially for a large school, 7A, state of Florida, largest class, you could probably get away with it at a smaller school, less sports, less management, but at a big school, it took away from both. So I decided to go back to just coaching.
Yeah, but I got a quick Chanley story.
Oh, wow.
I gotta hear it.
Yeah, this is I want to say my freshman or sophomore year. I walked in and Chanley just looks at me. He's like, "Man, another Giffen." That's not even the punchline. He's like, "Your parents need a TV in the bedroom."
You said that in an earlier podcast. It's so funny. They had too much alone time.
Damn it, that's a good one.
So what were you thinking when the fourth one came in?
I was like, this one can't be as bad as the other ones.
No. But no, that's something cool. It's like when you coach at the same place for such a long time, you have that unique experience of coaching brothers and siblings.
I don't think anybody gets to coach 4 brothers in different years.
13 straight years.
It's so unique.
That's really bizarre.
Yeah.
I'd like to know another school that has that.
Yeah.
And because now with everyone, you can leave and, playing time, I go to another school. Yeah, that was one of the cool things.
Yeah,
we had a lot of brothers, though.
Yeah, we've always had a lot of brothers.
We've always had a lot of brothers on your teams.
Yep. And
the weird thing is none of us played together.
I know. You guys never had that. You were always 1 year off.
We were spread out from 03 to 16.
Right.
I know. I mean, it was like one graduated, the other one came in.
Yeah, after Braden graduated, I came in as a freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah, there must have been like some sort of series that they were watching in the living room for that, every 5th year, like they went to the bedroom after dinner, your parents. They must have, I don't know. They were too busy raising the younger one.
Yeah.
And then, the other one's at the neighbor's house. Let's go have some fun.
Come on.
9 months later, next one.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So
I think Chanley also told me we all had a carbon copy of the same swing.
Yeah, you all did, and you all threw the same. I mean, Ryan, he had some kind of throw.
it's ironic about you. You were the best thrower out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could throw it.
Because you could pitch, you catch, you could play second, but you never had like throwing issues.
No.
Your other 3 brothers all had throwing issues at times.
Horrible.
Yeah. Braden was probably the worst. He got the yips. He talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, but he was like the best defensive first baseman.
He was an amazing first baseman with the glove.
Yeah.
He had trouble throwing the ball. Yeah. And Ryan had trouble throwing the ball after the injuries. But
his shoulder got to him at the end.
Yeah, he was going to be our catcher, and then all of a sudden his arm went bad.
Yeah, and he went to college, and he still was able to do it. But like dude, I have a messed up arm now, and it sucks.
Yeah, men's league now, I feel my rotator cuff. It fucking sucks.
I can't believe you still play.
Yeah, I still do.
Good for you.
I still catch, play a little middle infield. Like
You got to drop your zone. I mean, drop your arm slot. You got to throw from the side.
Yeah,
it's the only way to get for your shoulder.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You're getting too old. You can't stay over the top.
Especially when you don't throw every day.
Yeah.
I try to get out at least once a week just to move around before a game. I know it's not enough, but at least it's something.
Yeah. Well, you got Miles too. You work with him.
Yeah.
And you're like throwing with him.
You're just doing this.
Yeah. But it was funny that when you said that.
Well, I just want to say I think you and your family, your brothers, mom and dad, were baseball junkies.
Yeah. Well, we're still in it now. We're starting all over.
Starting all over with Ryan's kid and Miles. Yeah.
The thing is, baseball junkies are what make baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, we called them gym rats back in the day. But those kind of guys, you need those, or the sport's gonna go on.
Yeah.
We need those baseball guys.
One thing I always digged about your family too, and especially your parents, like they were always good to me. I had 13 years worth of coaching their boys.
Of help.
But like they helped whenever they needed, but they also stayed in their lane.
Yeah.
Like they didn't interfere. They didn't question anything.
They left it up to us to figure it out.
They just supported. They were supportive parents, and that's one of the best pieces of advice that I could give any baseball parent, especially when they get to high school.
Any parent, not even baseball parent.
Let your kids handle their business. Don't get involved with your kids. I shouldn't say that. Don't interfere with your kids' ability to handle something on their own.
Yeah, because like if we could have handled it, they let us handle it.
That's part of putting your big boy pants on and growing up. It's part of life. You can't have parents questioning, things. One of my lines to the parents that I've done since day one, I don't go into your job to tell you how to do your job.
How would you like me going to the
don't come to me,
job?
especially after a loss, and talk to me about what I did wrong or playing time of your kid. Let it marinate for overnight, and then we can discuss with your kid if he comes up to me. Not you. You're not the one that's at practice every day. You're not the one that's playing every day. You're not the one that I interact with every day. Your kid has to be responsible enough to come up to me if there's something that needs to be discussed, and I will give the best answer I possibly can. That's fair and honest. But like, don't like your parents never did that, and that's such an amazing attribute from them.
Well, especially with 4 boys, because you would think it would be 4 times as many opportunities to be disappointed in the coach.
Right. So that's just such a unique thing that like they were just nothing but supportive. And I really appreciated that from them.
We've had good parents. We've had.
We've also had the blue collar type, and I think that helps.
And we've had guys that say, "What kind of a program is this? My kid hit 500, and you didn't get the stats in the newspaper." Yeah. I mean, come on, guy. I mean, what are we doing here? But that's what it used to be. I mean, well, it's not in the paper. Well, yeah. Now you have the stats on the phone. You can get them overnight.
The papers don't cover the high school sports very good.
Not anymore.
Well, before we get wrapping up, do you guys have a funny baseball story you want to close it on?
Oh wow, funny baseball.
It can be R-rated. I've had plethora of dick stories.
Well,
those running. Let's talk about
the spots on a zebra. The spots on a zebra all came about because of Dylan Love. So Dylan Love,
I should see him in men's league.
I know he's a men's league. He always plays. He coached with me for a year,
about 5 minutes.
But what's amazing? Throughout my run, there's probably about 20 kids that have come back to help coach with me in some capacity. Absolutely. So I take that as a little pat on the back honor. But so Dylan Love is his freshman year tryouts. Coach Chanley's just shooting the shit with kids, and before we get started, he's introducing himself. I'm like getting everything ready for tryouts. Dylan Love, he goes, "Hey, what's your name?" He goes, "I'm Dylan Love, but you can call me the Love Doctor." This is fucking a 9th grader. Met him for the first time ever.
Oh my God.
Saying this right before tryouts.
And I'm looking at this kid
he tells me this story about Dylan Love saying that story. And I'm like, yeah, I guess he's a little quirky, a little goofy, whatever. Ends up being a pretty good player for us.
Absolutely.
Come senior year. So during baseball season in Florida, it's never that cold, but we had a very, very
spring break. It was spring break.
Well, no. It was the slam.
Oh, it was the slam
because it was February.
Yes,
there was a really strong cold front
came in February.
And we knew it was coming through, and it was going to be like 30 degrees when we played in the slam.
That's true.
So the day before, it was like the Saturday practice before the slam opened up on Monday. I'm talking to the team underneath the tree like we always did.
Right by the owner's bench?
Yeah, we call that the owner's box, and the bench right there under the tree. And I said, gentlemen, it's going to be cold on Monday. You need to bring your long johns or whatever you need to do to keep warm. Bring your jackets, bring your sweater, bring your long. And Dylan Love, like kind of says it out loud. What does he mean by that? Like bring our peanut? Like, does that mean bring our penises?
The long johns.
I'm like, and Coach Chanley goes, no, it's gonna be really cold. Like, make sure you have like stuff that keeps you warm. So he looks at me like after the kids like break, and he goes to me, the spots on a zebra never change, Coach. Dylan Love thought that you meant long john. I go, and I think about that, and I think about it for a second. I'm not even thinking about the penis thing. I'm like, Coach, zebras have stripes. That's where it all came from. Absolutely. And ever since that day, I always say the spots on the zebra never change whenever we're talking about something in that regard or that context. And it's so funny because now it's his fucking screensaver. He saw it on the internet. He's like, and he sent to me it was just last week.
I sent it to everyone.
It literally was like last week. It's like, there is a fucking spotted zebra.
Finally, I'm
vindicated all these
vindicated.
Years.
That was the word I was looking for.
So, no, I mean, great times, a lot of friendship, a lot of memories. And he was looking forward to coming out here with you and just like, he follows you big time. We both do, and
I appreciate it.
And,
No.
I swear, like I have great relationships with a lot of foreign players. The fact that this is my third time, on
third
your
time
podcast,
back.
I'm like a veteran now.
Yeah, I know.
So, I dig it. I love it, and I love you, and I love you. So
It might be a sidekick. McKay and you. I mean, yeah.
I love you guys. Thank you for coming back on.
McKay,
thanks for
this
having
has
us.
been more than fun for me. More than fun. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.